Hi everyone, my name is Mary Aline and welcome to my channel. And I just want to thank everyone who took their time to watch my last video, who commented, who shared, and the many messages that I received inbox. Thank you so much for the word of encouragement. I remember there was one particular person who shared their experience, and it's a sad story, almost similar to mine, and it helped me realize that there is always, I don't know how, but somehow there is always someone who has gone through what you're going through. There is always someone who has gone through what you're going through right now, and when you get to know that, the weight, the weight becomes less. Sometimes it is so weighty on you alone, but the moment you engage with other people, the moment you hear other people's story, then it becomes so easy. It becomes so, you become at ease, knowing that you're not alone, and knowing that people go through stuff and they get out of it stronger. And yeah, so thank you so much for everyone who shared, and thank you for being here with me. Today's video I'll be talking about why I could not travel back in Africa to bury my mom, but before then, allow me to take you back a little bit. I came here on K1 visa. K1 visa is also called fiancé visa, meaning you are engaged to your partner and you intend to marry them within 90 days after arrival in America. You intend. I'm insisting in intend to marry them, because among the many documents that we applied, that is one of the requirements. With the US Embassy and for K1 visa, there are many visas, but for K1 visa, you have to prove to them that you're engaged. Proving to them, meaning you have to show them that you're engaged. They have to see photos where you are engaged. And the interesting part is that they also want you attach a receipt of your engagement ring to prove that for sure you bought an engagement ring and you're engaged, or your partner bought the engagement ring and they engaged you. And also they need to see a letter from you that you intend to marry your partner within 90 days. And I'm sharing with you that part because it is in connection to the reason why I could not travel. And in one of the videos I'll take you through my journey of visa application. The process, it's a long process. My goodness, it's a long process. And among the many documents we were filing, those were one of the most important ones. Right here in embassy here, I remember my husband, my fiance then, had to file to the embassy here. And the moment the embassy here approves your document, they send the same documents back in your country, probably in Africa, whichever the country you come from. Let me talk of Kenya, because I'm here to do research and get to know what happens with other countries and what happens with other continents. But for my country, yes, they have to go through your documents here. Once they approve them, once they approve their petition, they will send your documents to your embassy and you follow up with them from there. So yes, I came here on K1 visa and we got married before 90 days were over. And thereafter, not really after 90 days, but thereafter you're married, you can proceed and change the status. Rather, they call it adjustment of status. That is, you proceed and apply for green card. So we did so. But being an immigrant, there is one mistake I did. when I was filing for the adjustment of the status, I did not file for traveling documents. There are normally three, depending on your case. There is the adjustment of status, there is the employment, and there is also traveling document. I didn't care much about the traveling document. Number one, I was not planning to travel soon back in Kenya, and I knew by the time I'm planning to go, I would have my status adjust, or rather would be having my green card, meaning I would be free to travel in and out of the country. So the traveling document is one of the documents I did not bother to file. A big mistake that we did. But as I said, I wasn't planning to travel. Of course, I was planning to travel to Kenya, but not like so soon. I was planning to settle down completely. I get to know things, I get to adjust to everything, and once my mind is settled here, then I can travel back home to say hello to my family. Of course, I wasn't planning to travel for a burial or something like an emergency. So that was a mistake we did. And from my last video, I said we received the phone call at night. So the next morning, first thing first was to contact the immigration officer. Was a lady, I remember, and she explained to me a lot of things and the reason and the status of my case. And she said if only I had applied for the traveling documents, they would consider my case, because when we called them, I had to explain that it is in an emergency. Therefore, I really need to travel. But she said, unfortunately, now that I haven't filed for the document, the earliest they are able to give me the travel document would be within 3 weeks. And the lady explained, and she explained the whole process and how it goes and how they do it. But I tried to beg her. You know, those desperate moments, you don't even mind begging someone to give you, I mean, to favor you and to favor your case. That was my situation. I tried to beg her. I tried to tell her I can't handle it. I really need to go and bury my mom. And she said, I'm sorry. She kept saying, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your loss. But unfortunately, the earliest we can give you the traveling documents would be within 15 days. 15 working days. Meaning if there is a holiday there in between, definitely it's not counted. They're not working. And you know, remember, I'm in the pain of, I've lost my best friend, I've lost my person, I've lost my mom, I'm in the pain that I didn't even know how to handle. I didn't know how to bear it. I didn't know how to. Sometimes we lose people, and it's like your life your life becomes at a standstill. That's how I was feeling. I was feeling like my whole life has come to a standstill. I don't know how to bear the pain. I don't know how to handle it. And now the immigration officer is, it felt like the little faith, the little energy I had was crushed. Her telling me, and she kept telling me, I'm sorry, there is nothing we can do. The earliest we can offer you the traveling documents is within 15 days. She kept saying that, and the more she said so, the more I was feeling like she's crushing me. It felt like someone stepping on a wound that is still so fresh. But anyway, it was a desperate moment. The much I begged, she said, I'm sorry. So the next thing was to make peace with that. But one hard lesson I've learned is that you see, the moment you have opportunity to do something, that's the right time to do it. That's the right time to do it. for me, it didn't matter applying for the traveling documents, and especially when I was still so new, because I was like, I really need to settle here. I really need to learn things, and you can imagine it's a lot. I didn't know transition is that hard, but when you get in it, you realize it is not so hard. It is not so easy. So for me, I knew I have to get settled before I think of going back home. I didn't want that. I just came from Africa. Before I even know how things operate and how people are, the culture, the food and everything, I'm again planning another trip going home. I really wanted to first settle down and settle completely, and then I can be able to travel. So traveling documents were the least I thought about. Yes, I knew about them. Yes, I had Googled, I had listened to many videos when I was doing other documents. But, traveling back in Africa, just to visit them was the least in my list. And I thought by the time I'm planning to visit, I would be having my status changed, meaning I would have my green card, and therefore I would have the freedom to travel back and forth to and from America. The sensitive part about traveling documents is not just leaving the country. And here's the trick. It's not just leaving the country. Leaving, they have no problem. Trust me, I could have left. Even coming back at the airport in my home country, they would not stop. But once I get to US in the airport, that's how I would get stuck. That is one thing people don't know. Traveling, they have no problem with you. You travel, you get out. But coming back becomes the problem. I remember when I was sharing with one of my friends, and I told them I'm not allowed to leave the country. I think I wasn't in a position like to explain what it really means, but I remember the person saying, so how dare they like hold you there? They can't let you travel out. No, the government here has no business to hold you from traveling outside their country. Coming back would be the problem, and it would mean I apply visa afresh, and that would mean I'm stuck in the airport. I'm already in US, but I cannot go anywhere beyond that. So it would mean staying there until something is done, and this something is not something under your control that you'll do it within days or within weeks. And it reminded me of another person who was sharing having stayed at the border for over 1 year. I'm telling you, it is very possible, because you have a choice. You can fly back, go back to your country and do what you need to do as you wait for your visa, or as you wait for them to allow you. If you don't have the money to, it may be challenging. So the traveling document is not a restriction from leaving the country. It is a restriction from coming back. And that was my mistake, and that was my hardest lesson. But when you have time, when you think about doing it, just do it. It's not about even creating time for it. When you can do it, it's time to do it. If only I knew, I would have traveled back home and come back with no issues. Nobody would have bothered me. But yeah, that was my painful experience. Thank you for listening. See you again in the next video. Toodles!